Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
Somehow, we're in April. It happened.
Yep. You know what they say, man. April showers bring Ninja Turtles.
What? Huh?
Mm-hmm. April showers bring Ninja Turtles. Then what do Ninja Turtles bring? Pizza. This is like a nursery rhyme from back in like grade school, dude. How did you not know this?
Anyway, we're here to answer questions from our good folks, good friends on patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members. So we're going to do that instead of whatever Ian's talking about.
I bet you don't even know what happens if the Shredder sees a shadow.
Oh, man. Shred Hog Day. Oh, boy. Allison S. has a question. Amy is a passionate girl who wants to spread love to the world, and she's just become obsessed with the second most popular ship on the hip new TV show. The problem is that the rival pairing is more popular. What will she do, and how will she enlist her friends?
She will campaign as hard as she can within, the fan groups and within her friends. Like, you should totally watch this show and you should totally support this ship. And it's like, Amy, we don't like this show. We're happy you enjoy it so much, but not really. Oh, we're watching it now. Okay. Binge party. You have it all recorded. Right. Of course you have it all recorded. Do we have to start at season 1? Uh-huh. And how many? Oh, we're that many seasons in. Okay. All right.
Oh, no.
Don't you agree with me? This is the right ship. Will you let me go if I agree?
Please stop holding my eyes open. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Alpha Monor Yukin has a question. I come to you with an Archie Sonic what-if scenario. During the events of Treasure Team Tango, suppose Cream didn't tag along with Amy and Rouge didn't have Shadow or Omega for backup. How would an unlikely team-up between Amy, Rouge, and Blaze pan out? Would they be able to stand each other long enough to handle Team Babylon and Team Hooligan?
Yes and no. This was still back when we were, leaning heavier into they are a dark type character with Rouge. So there would be a little more overt betrayal, but ultimately, she would work towards her own goal, which is secure the Emerald. And Amy and Blaze would be working towards that same goal for their own reasons, so they would come together against the common adversaries.
Yeah. Rouge would probably
there would be hijinks, just different kinds of hijinks.
Yes, Rouge would set aside her problems mostly and work with others. She's pragmatic. She's not stupid.
If she can't have the Emerald, Knack absolutely is not going to have it instead.
Yes, she was mean pre-reboot, but, she wasn't an idiot. All right, here's one from Andrew D. He once stated that the modern games generally happen in release order. I can't remember which BumbleKast that was in, but is that still the case? And would you say the same rule applies to all official Sonic media and not just the games? For example, a new animation being released followed by a new game being released would generally be the correct chronological order, with the term generally being emphasized here and not always the case.
No, I feel like there's too many instances of exceptions to say generally with any kind of safety.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I don't know when I said that in a BumbleKast, but I feel like we've still only had one game since then, so where would you want me to say that it's changed?
Yeah. This wasn't, you didn't say that long ago.
All right, granted, Superstars has come out since Frontiers, but Superstars is classic, and we all know that comes before everything else, so again.
Yep. Bladed Fox 14 has a question. How would Anti-Tails Sky Patrol and Anti-Tails Adventure go?
I guess Miles first comes to this island to claim it for his own. And the lovely, Wendy Witchcart, who likes to make gingerbread houses so the children can have the novelty of eating down an entire house. Tee hee, what innocent fun. and her goofy, loving, well-adjusted compatriots all just get chased off because he bullies them.
That sounds about right. Good granny witch cart.
They're all on their vehicles trying to escape him as he chases them down.
Yeah.
We're airborne and he doesn't even have a vehicle. How is he catching up? Oh, God, he flies with his tails.
Oh,
no. Same general scenario. Auntie Tails figures out that the philanthropic organization that is the Helpful Bird Armada, the Helping Hands Flock. No, I need something better. I need the alliteration. Battle Bird Armada. So Helping Hands Flock. Yeah, all right, that works fine. We'll call them
here's one. The Buddy Bird Armada.
There we go. We are the Buddy Birds. We never have a fight.
There we go.
Tails learns that they have an entire island set up for their, network of helping people abroad. So he goes on their Rambo style.
There you go. Sounds like it went just fine.
He's the one who firebombs Coco Island.
No!
It's not Tails escaping from the invasion. It's him hunting down the survivors.
Dang. Amazing. But also terrible. Terrible person he is.
We are the Buddy Birds and we have a fright. We all are set on fire and we'd rather run than fight. If you say we should prepare, you probably were right. Oh, we are the Buddy Birds. We are gonna die.
Next question is from Bounce Bloom. A question about the metal virus. It's been shown that they sort of become metallic goop zombies. Does the virus melt their insides into goo? Can they feel it? Is it painful? Do their brains go goopy? Can Sonic feel his insides goop and de-goop as he tries to run it off? Is it like Oobleck?
Let's not answer those questions.
It's
those
a little
all sound awful.
It's too real, man.
I mean, I imagine once you're full on zombified, you don't really have any perception of what's going on. Nothing really concrete. And the process itself just, I imagine, is like being dunked in really cold water. So there's momentary discomfort and then blissful oblivion.
The chat was in there ready to start taking notes and you just cut it off. They were.
I mean, we're done with it. So if you want to go super body horror tragic in your fanfic, go nuts. Just don't show it to me.
Well, I mean,
and for more than the obvious reasons.
Yeah, I guess. Here's one from Bunzafluffical. Boosting a question for the Linidix. Or the Lanidix. I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce that. All right, for a what if, during Sonic and the Black Knight, Sonic had to stay as king for 1 year before he could return. And no, he couldn't get out of it. How well does he do as king?
How far along is he in the Arthurian legend?
Oh, no.
By the end of Black Knight. He keeps Merlina go around saying, okay, so what happens next in the book? Because I didn't get to finish reading it. You kind of summoned me.
Yeah.
Am I in trouble? Who's this Mordred guy I keep hearing about?
Oh, boy. You're in trouble, buddy.
Yeah, he does his best, but he's not a politician. He's not a strategist. He's not a civic engineer. He doesn't know how to run a country. So he's doing his best, but like he's just floundering and things are destabilizing and nobody has trust in the kingdom anymore. And Merlina's like, and everything's going according to plot. Sure would have been nice if someone, I don't know, stopped fate from letting this happen.
Oh, no.
So I was like, you're the one who brought me in here. I don't remember that in the Cliff Notes edition, lady.
It should be like, well, if you read the Cliff Notes, you should know what happened. All right, here's one from Comic the Hedgehog. Starline in Wonderland. His latest isekai adventure has dropped him right into a tea party with the Mad Hatter, a croquet game with the Queen of Hearts, and a lecture from a caterpillar, while the Cheshire Cat trolls him endlessly. What hijinks ensue?
Well, with the Mad Hatter, he's trying to figure out the rules to the change places around the tea party scenario.
Yeah.
He wants to actually calculate how much he's owed on his many unbirthdays. He's trying to play logic here, and it doesn't work. If anything, he'd kind of counter-troll the Cheshire Cat, who's asking, why is a raven like a writing desk? And Starline's like, I don't know why. There is no answer. It's just a nonsense riddle. No. You posed a question. There needs to be an answer. Let me figure this one out. I don't know. Maybe he chills out with a caterpillar, takes a puff or two, chills out on a mushroom, and have some downtime in the Seasky adventure. Because once he gets to the Queen of Hearts, you know her saying, off with his head. And using flamingos, she might just mistake him for a putter.
Oh no.
You made me miss. You should have used a wedge. Off with his head.
Yep, there it goes. Oh man. Oh boy. Conga is here with a question. I've noticed that Ben Hurst's plan for Nicole's origins and arc in Sad AM share some similarities with her story in the post-reboot continuity. Did you and or Aaliyah take inspiration from his ideas, or is it a coincidence? Or did you write Sad AM Season 3 behind everyone's back and pin it on Mr. Hurst? That's right.
No intentional parallels there. What is there is arguably tenuous at best. There was meant to be a visual callback. Aaliyah originally wanted the prototype Nicole to be designed after like the pilot computer rollout thing, like that big clunky Nicole, but that didn't make the cut for whatever reason.
Oh. Here's a question from Cool Christy 1. Where is the Sonic Squad questions for the editor-in-chief to answer?
The what?
I'm assuming this is like is this about referring to like questions Q&A for the editor in the comics?
Like, is this an old Sonic Grams riff, or?
I don't know. Like the letters to the editor? Do they not have that?
Well, they have a letters page in the back of the comics, but it's usually highlighting, the younger readers and their fan art.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The editor-in-chief of IDW doesn't do that. That's the current editor of the book, so...
Yeah.
I feel like I'm missing a joke. I feel like I'm being set up for something funny, and I'm missing it entirely.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I don't know exactly what they're talking about either, and I don't know what Sonic Squad is, so... Yeah, we're both lost, Christy. Help us out, maybe.
Failure.
Yeah. CTFeologist has a question. Why did Eggman build the other medals besides Metal Sonic? Metal Knuckles, Tails, Amy, and Metal Trip. Does Metal Knuckles coming before the others post-Sonic imply that he had an individual purpose at the time of his creation?
I wouldn't read too much into it. At this point, I'm not 100% certain how canon the Superstars medals are. I hope they're set in stone. God, I want them so bad. But I don't know if they count or if they're more like Easter eggy thing. I don't know. I really don't know. But don't read too much into the construction timeline of these robots, because that it wasn't under consideration then, I don't think. And there's only so much that really needs to be retconned to be made sense of. He has medals, and maybe some of them are in storage and he just deploys them earlier than others. It's Eggman logic, which is to say his own personal, which is an enigma to everyone.
Yes. An
Eggnigma, if you will.
An Eggnigman. That's what Eggman is. Enigma wrapped in an egg. Danomancy has a question. In Sonic 3, when Eggman found Knuckles on Angel Island, did Knuckles even know how to speak? After all, if he was the sole inhabitant of Angel Island for all of his life, how's he going to learn what talking is?
This is one of those things like the metal deployment. Don't think too hard about it. Like, where did Knuckles get his clothes? Where did Knuckles even come from? Where did Knuckles learn how to speak? How did he learn how to socialize?
Knuckles doesn't wear clothes.
Shoes and gloves, man. They're clothing.
Okay, fine.
They're apparel.
And I guess he has a hat.
Yes.
Yeah, of course, he has a hat. I mean, to be fair, he still doesn't know how to socialize.
To different degrees, but yes.
Poor Knuckles. Anyway, I guess in this case, just repeat to yourself, it's just a video game franchise. I should really just relax. Here's one from Dawson the Dachshund. The newest member of Team Dark has arrived, Fozzie Bear. What role does Fozzie have on the team, and what do his teammates think of him? Can he get any of them to laugh, or do they find his jokes unbearable? Waka waka.
Fozzie is an underappreciated genius in his own time.
It's true. But would Team Dark appreciate him?
No.
Didn't think so.
Like, Rouge might find his efforts charming in, oh, you poor dear, you actually think you're funny. I do appreciate that you try, until he's like his third dad joke in, and she's like, was this a punishment to me specifically to be assigned to this unit? Can't you go home? Omega's trembling with rage because he's only really programmed to destroy robots, but Fozzie's not a robot. Curse you, Asimov! And Shadow, we got one or two options here. Either the obvious answer, and that he just cannot stand Fozzie. Like, he doesn't like it when Sonic's making quips, and Fozzie's nothing but a bad quipper. It's just getting on his absolute last nerve. Or he's the only person alive who finds Fozzie funny. Like, every one of Fozzie's jokes is absolute gold and lands every time, but he has a essence to maintain, man. He has a presence. He can't just be laughing in the middle of some fight. He's the stoic grim one, all right?
Yeah, but he thinks about Maria. Maria would have loved Fozzie.
Oh, God, she would. She absolutely would.
There you go. That's what the thing is. That's what it is. Maria would have thought you were hilarious.
Fozzie takes out a rubber cookie. He's like, Eggman, put this in a bed, Nick. Waka waka. And on the outside, Shadow's just glaring, but the inside he's going,
yep.
Oh my God, this guy's hilarious.
I mean, to be fair, I'm laughing. But then again, I laugh at everything, so. All right.
If anything, we just need this for Orbot and Qbot to be kind of watching from an Eggmobile and pulling the Statler and Waldorf routine.
Okay, there we go. I was going to say, where's Statler and Waldorf in all this? Yes. DDR Master M has a question. Last Animal Crossing question for now. The Sonic cast visits Blather's museum. How does it go? Can Tangle restrain herself from causing trouble? Can the owl handle a visit by fellow museum curator Jewel, the Beetle?
I imagine Tangle has been museum trained by Jewel. It has taken time and patience, but she knows not to touch anything. Just touch with your eyes. And she appreciates art. She may not get it, but, she can appreciate craftsmanship and time and energy spent on making something of art. And she's even learned how to properly tie her hands behind her back with her own tail, so she can't touch anything. Ha ha! Outsmarted herself. And Jewel is, appreciative, what Blathers has done. And, my goodness, this entire thing is done through donations exclusively. You don't even go out and dig this stuff up yourself? My goodness.
Yeah. Well, Blathers doesn't like bugs, apparently, is what I'm being told.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I was just thinking it's curator, but he doesn't like bugs.
Yeah, but she's not like bug-sized. She's like a person, another fellow cartoon animal style character. Would he even
tremendously worse? She's gargantuan. And he thought the Goliath beetle over in the bug exhibition was the worst thing. No, although she does have excellent taste in attire and proper manners, but she's so close to his general proximity. Can she just please observe from somewhere else? He'll be in his office.
Oh, that's mean. Oh, I feel bad now for Jewel. Poor Jewel. Oh, well. All right. Dr. Obvious has a question. A couple of humans visit the home of Sonic and Friends. They tell us about their concept of pets, like cats and dogs and bunnies and the like. How does the main Sonic cast react to that concept? Throw in Tangle and Whisper for good measure, too, since dogs were wolves at some point.
In Sonic's world, pets are common enough.
Sure.
we haven't seen anyone that I can immediately think of actively having like a pet. But, Cream makes a point of saying that Cheese is not her pet, but her companion. So they have a concept of pets and ownerships and stuff.
Yeah, and like Chow.
There are, there's animals in the world and there's animals in the world.
Humans are animals too, to be fair.
Right.
At a base level, to a degree. All right. Now I'm being asked, do Mobians have humans as pets? Let's say no.
It's a dangerous answer because I know if I said yes, some people would go, "Where do I sign up?"
No.
Moving on.
No. Double L has a question. This will be the last one before we take a break. Given comics are a visual-only medium, only you will know how these characters sound. With that, there's a non-zero chance that at least one of the characters sounds absurd. And as any good Sonic fan knows, a non-zero chance means 100% canon. With that in mind, we must know the absolute truth. Which comic book character has always, canonically, sounded exactly like Mega Man 8 Dr. Light? Fine, Dr. Wowie. I think Dr. Light from the Mega Man comic sounds like Dr. Light.
No. I'm trying to think, what's the funniest answer? That's, the worst possible answer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost inclined to say Clutch.
Oh, no.
Because that robs him of any menace in any of his scenes.
And keep in mind, this doesn't have to be like current IDW. This could be back in the day, Archie stuff.
I suppose. But let's pick someone current so that, the wound is fresh.
Maybe it's...
I think if I give it to Whisper, I think that's going to piss the most people off.
Which is funny. So do it. Tangle and Mumble.
With a tragic end to the Diamond Cutters. He's haunted by such powerless memories. Thankfully, she has her many colored wisps to help her in her many battles.
Okay, Homestar-ish. Almost Homestar.
Well, before we get into that temptation, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more on the BumbleKast.
It makes her even more of a wooby.
And we're back, and we're starting off with our weekly giveaway question. Folks who follow us on our Twitter, Tumblr, Blue Sky, Instagram, and Facebook accounts every so often get a chance to have their question answered on the show. And this week's winner is...
They're from Blue Sky, and their name is Marl Barrow. I want to get into writing longer stories, but I've been struggling when it comes to the outlining process. So, can you spare any advice for outlining a story? Anything would be greatly appreciated.
Well, number one, how big are we talking? Like a novella, a novel, a multi-issue comic? How is... The structure is going to define the beats of your story and how you pursue that narrative. But maybe I'm already over specializing. Let's focus on the general idea here. Look at the story that you have and say, what is that story? What am I telling with it? What is the journey of the character? What is the presentation? What is the message I'm trying to convey here? Where do you start with that and where do you end? At least this is how I approach most of these things. And with that in mind, and any key points you want to hit along the way, you can lay out a very rough timeline of events for this story. Okay, I know I start here. I know I have to be here by the end, and I want to hit A, B, C along the way. How much page real estate do you have? How long are you going to be able to tell this story? And then start breaking down the individual beats. If the character has to get to point A, what is in their way? What do they have to learn? How do they have to change? What do they have to overcome to reach that point? And with that new point as your starting ground, how do they get to B and C, et cetera, to the end? And, with these, I like to break it down into like a sentence per plot beat, whether that's per page or per chapter or just in general, getting your ideas down. If you're a more physical person, Like if you really need to have that touchy-feely audiovisual input, get some note cards. Write down what these events are and organize them in front of yourself and see, oh, I've got 20 cards here before point A and nothing between B and C. Maybe I need to rethink this. Be ready to shuffle things around. Like maybe you really want the scene in B to happen, but it doesn't make sense, but it would make sense if it were moved to C. Do that. And maybe you get to point C and you're like, I really love this scene. I've wanted to tell the story just to do this scene, but it doesn't make sense in the overall narrative. I'm performing mental gymnastics just to justify this moment. Cut it out. I hate it. It's the worst thing in the world, but you have to do what serves the greater story justice.
Mm-hmm.
So in summation, I would say, look at where you're ultimately going overall, break it down into manageable pieces, and see what needs to be shuffled around for it to make a logical flow from one to the other. That may not work for you. That may be too mathematical an approach for you. But try it. And if it doesn't work for you, look at why. Why isn't that not syncing with the way you work? What is it that just isn't resonating with you? And maybe you'll find a better way to approach it from there.
Alrighty. Let's move on to the next question here. This one is from Dove. So, Ian, we've been told that per Sega, magic does not exist in Sonic's world. So if Magic the Gathering doesn't exist, which card games do? Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, TCG, Disney's Lorcana. Do any trading card games exist at all? What does middle school Mimic play at lunch until Rough and Tumble come along to bully him?
Well, that's the last thing they ever do. I'm sure there's card games. There's got to be.
There's probably even card games on motorcycles.
I'm not going to do it. You're not going to get me to do that entire bit because I want to, but I'm not going to. Yes, Kate! No, not doing it.
No. For Twilord's sake, we'll say Digimon exists.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, sure.
But they're Chow. Digi-Chow? Digital Chow things?
Okay, there's a Chow. Yeah, there's a Chow. Who has the heart?
Chow no karate.
Who has the heart of the cards? Tails. All right, here's one from E2 Under Paragon. I've got another crossover this time. Sonic has entered the world of Monster Hunter. One thing that stays consistent is the Hunters Guild glorifying the hunting of animals, usually for sport or resources, and their brandishing of hunters as heroes who are above all consequences. Anyone who breaks the rules of the guild is criminalized and exterminated by the guild knights. Thus, my question is this. Since Sonic always does what's right, regardless of morals, how would you write a story where he and the guild interact? I'd imagine Sonic's chaos energy would earn him the Elder Dragon classification, and thus the guild's slay on sight authorization.
See, I'm coming in blind. I never played Monster Hunter, but I do wonder, because number one, Sonic doesn't have any inherent energies to him. He's just cool.
That's an inherent energy. Inherent coolness.
Also, there are other, like, non-human species, right? Like, there's the palicos and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So would they inherently immediately see Sonic as an animal, or would they just see him as another weird humanoid in their environment?
Mm-hmm.
And, as much as Sonic is someone who enjoys nature and protects it from exploitation, he's also not going to say, no, don't hit Gormagala. He's part of nature. No, if there's a rampaging beastie rampaging and being all bestial, he's going to kick his butt. So I don't immediately see a reason for conflict. He might be one to, join this guild and enjoy exploring these new locations and enjoying the challenge of, oh, there's a feisty fire-breathing baboon or whatever it is. That sounds like a fun challenge.
Yeah.
And so far as if the guild is responsible in their hunting of things, like they're not exploiting the environment, they're actually protecting areas that need protection and are allowing the environment to thrive as naturally as possible, I don't really see him being at odds with them right off the bat.
Yeah.
That also isn't to say that he's going to go out of his way to beat something to death and then wear its skin. That's not really his style either.
No.
But
How does Sonic feel about some of the cats and the hunters cosplaying as him?
I mean, he's got to be used to it to some degree.
I guess. And why does that person's other pet wolf thing look like Tails?
Yeah, maybe somebody gifted him that Rathalor armor, and he's like, "Yeah, all right, sick."
Wow,
Rathalos. You know what I'm talking about.
Whatever, one of those guys. Yeah. Apparently, they don't necessarily hunt for sport. I don't know if that's like just a weird interpretation sort of thing or what, but yeah. I don't know much about Monster Hunter myself, so that's okay. Here's one from Emmy. The recent Angry Birds on Sonic crossover event got me thinking about a fun little scenario that I now must ask about on the show. Eggman has found himself in charge of a group of minion pigs. How does he deal with these happy-go-lucky and immature yet surprisingly loyal and persistent idiots who can build pretty much anything from scraps of wood in a toolbox, even if it falls apart 5 minutes later? What evil plans is the Mad Doctor using for? Oh, so basically, he's now just got a whole army of Q-bots.
Oh, Gran, I have my own set of minions. You make the same noises. Except with the occasional oink.
Oinky, yeah, pretty much.
He wouldn't be particularly fond of how rustic the constructions are, but he would be appreciative of their technical ability. You know, the fact that he sees nothing but a pile of junk, and a minute later they have something approaching a stable construct, at least, gets in the way of other things. He's appreciative enough of that. And, with a little bit of direction, they can actually take that box of scraps and build a hilariously somehow functional physics-based Death Egg robot.
Well, there you go. Wow. Turns out they're kind of useful. And we got a question from Godzilla. What do you think Shadow is drinking poolside in the new artwork from Sega? An iced coffee? Chaos Cola? Perfect Chaos Cola? And where do you think Shadow and Rouge went on vacation? Does Shadow even like vacations? Maybe, but he won't admit it.
Maybe it's an iced coffee. We'll stick with the joke. And he's not on vacation. He's just on patrol.
Of course.
In that particular area, because Rouge said that they needed to patrol there.
Uh-huh.
And he's not relaxing. He's just putting on the appearance of letting his guard down so that when whoever it is shows up, he can trounce them. They'll be around any minute now.
He's on pool patrol.
Exactly.
But what organization is he patrolling for?
Oh, we'll just say gun. Why not?
Gun. Sure, why not?
The Association of Pool Noodle Enthusiasts. I don't know. I'm a staunch member of APNE.
Nice. All right, here's one from Geo Knuckles. Sega's releasing Demon Slayer Sweep, the board game that plays like Mario Party. What are your thoughts?
That's okay.
I don't know.
I not necessarily the crossover of stuff I would have anticipated, but why not? I'm just going to play as Inosuke. That's all there is to it. You can't stop me.
Demon Party. Koopa Broadcast has a question. What do you think the Battle Cuckoo's opinion is on flickies, peckies, and the other bird-based small animals? Has he ever tried recruiting a flicky into the armada?
I don't think he's that obsessive, but I would see him having favoritism to them. Like, you've got little flickies and cuckies and lockies and whatever fluttering around the base at any given time. But if he finds a pocky or a picky, they're going straight out the airlock.
Birds of a feather.
No parachutes for those talkies.
Out they go. Also, they're cluckies, Ian. Come on.
Oh, yeah. We added the L.
Don't call them that. That's mean. They're just trying to live their lives. Don't judge them. I mean, to be fair, it's funnier that way. Happy Times has a question. Tails was going through Starline's files and accidentally sent everyone that video of Surge being beaten by a motobug. How bad is the massacre by her?
It doesn't happen because she shows up to do said massacre and everybody has like a motobug just set up
Oh no.
ready to quote unquote counter her, and she just dies of cringe on the spot.
Oh no. Oh no, Surge is susceptible to cringe?
It has to reach a certain threshold, but yeah.
Okay. Surge dies of cringe culture. Oh no. Motobud, her one natural enemy. Except for Sonic, of course. Hearts 13 is here with a question. What if Sonic was made in the 80s? In this parallel reality to our world, its history is the same as our own up to the year 1985 to 1986, the same year Sega released the Master System. Sonic 1 and 2 was made for the Master System instead of the Genesis. Is this version of the early Sonic games similar to the Game Gear versions in our own universe, or does it go in a completely different direction? How much of the 80s pop culture, both East and West, influenced the games, advertisements, and characters of Sonic?
This would be a really fun what-if scenario if I were better educated on any of those topics. You know, what was the console market really like in those times? What was hot in pop culture between the two? How would have 80s Americana influenced Sonic? I am not well versed enough to riff on that.
So, I mean, we were alive in the 80s, but we were children, like young children. I was 4 years old by the time 1990 rolled in, and you were like, what, 7, maybe 8, 7, 8, something like that. So
I am kind of amused by the idea of perhaps an Eggman inspired by Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, that is kind of funny. Although I figured Sonic's personality would be based more on Ronald Reagan, and Eggman would still be like, Teddy Roosevelt.
Maybe.
Yeah, but I don't know. Because it's the 80s. The 80s was a lot of like 50s nostalgia. So I figured that maybe we'd have like 50s Greaser Sonic. I think that's a good one. Maybe. Amy in a poodle skirt. Greaser Sonic is Scourge, to be fair.
I was going to say, motorcycles and dark coloration, they would have invented Shadow first.
It might have. Maybe. Sorta. Everyone would have 80s hair. So, the same hair. I don't know. That could have been interesting, though. Either way. Fun to think about. Would the games be different? I mean, yeah, probably.
They had to work with the limitations of the hardware at the time.
They certainly weren't. Well, I mean, even different from the Master System / Game Gear Sonic games we ended up with. I think that it would have been influenced by game design in the mid-'80s, which is very different from game design by the time we got into the late 80s rolling into the 90s.
That's true, since Sonic was basically built to showcase the Genesis's hardware power versus what Nintendo was producing at the time.
Yeah.
Without that as the impetus behind it, golly, what if we didn't even get Sonic? We got the rabbit with the grabby ears instead.
Maybe. I don't know if Sega would have had the foresight in 85, 86 to go toe-to-toe with Nintendo like that. Nintendo had a stranglehold on the market. So the only reason Sega was able to gain a foothold is because their influence was fading and the Super Nintendo got delayed. So, yeah.
All I know is
interesting.
The Cayenne cartoon would have one of those freaking amazing anime intros. And then the really weird Rankin Bass interior animation.
Yeah. Actual cartoons would look terrible, but the intro would be sick. All right, let's move on to a question from Hero Squad. Starline gets isekai'd into Minecraft. What happens?
I think he'd figure out the loop pretty quickly. I have to mine to craft and then craft to mine. Oh, This world will be putty in my hands. And, he builds a little too big, a little too much, forgets to check his light levels, and, right when he thinks that he's going to be this unstoppable force in this infinite world, he isn't paying attention, and
boom! He dug too deep, too fast.
It says here that lightning increases its explosive power. Let's experiment with that.
Oh, no! No! Or yes. Don't go into the nether, Starline. Don't go in there. He'll never come out.
I shall be the king of these pigmen.
Sure. All right, here's a question from Jara. I was surprised to discover that Falke Wolf was now called Hawke Wolf, and I was baffled by that name change when he is named after a German munitions. Is Falke hard to pronounce? Falke seems like a good name, but while I was puzzling over this, it occurred to me that Falke also doesn't have the in his name, which got me thinking, would it be interesting to change his name further? Could call him things such as Hard Falke, in reference to how difficult he is to fight, Wild Falke, as a nod to his crazy personality, or I don't give a Falke, as a nod to his disinclination towards sharing. Falke is hardly in many games, and I was surprised by this weird name change for the obscure character. Could you please explain it as expansively as possible with graphs and charts? Go as deep into this as you can, please.
I don't know how much I can get into it, but basically, yes, he was originally named after a German aeronautics company.
Yeah.
But he's almost named exactly the same as a German aeronautics company, which I believe is still in operations today. So there's a degree of copyright concern over that. But if I'm not mistaken, the kanji used can be translated a variety of ways. So why not go for the still accurate but legally distinct Hawke Wolf?
Yeah. And also, you avoid the sound alike of a certain F word. As actually Jara pointed out by saying, I don't give a Falke. So, Hawke Wolf. Maybe he just really likes hockey. He's a hockey wolf.
He's a failed salesman. He used to hawk his wares.
JCR1216 has a question. Silver and Whisper both seem to have dealt with some pretty serious traumas in their lives. How would their heart-to-heart discussions about that go?
Softly, haltingly, without any rush or expectation, privately, sincerely, somberly.
Wow, that's good, maybe. Although maybe they should go see a therapist.
Probably.
But, still. And we got one from Jedi Pony. What would a Zephyllus the Zone Cop be like? Z-Files. I should have known.
You have the right to remain silent, but please say something. Anything. Zeph, buddy, you gotta stop doing this to the perps. You're making us look bad.
Good old Zephyllus the Zark.
Read my lips, perp. You're going away for a long time. You don't have a mouth. It was violence. It was verbal violence against me. Zeph, put down the baton. Stop it. You're going to go have to see Commissioner Zacorn again.
Zacorn. Zephyllus and Ziblis. Oh, no.
The flames of justice. He's under arrest.
Oh, boy. All right, question from Major Bunny. Blaze, Marine, and Cream are on a mission working together. Which one of Blaze's small sidekicks does she unknowingly show more favoritism to, and does the other one get jealous at all?
Cream and yes.
Well, I mean, it's Marine.
This is textbook. This is a softball pitch here.
That was instant. You had no reservations. Oof, man, poor Marine. She's known Blaze longer than Cream has. Oh, man.
Yes, but one is polite and keeps her boundaries and is supportive and is just snuggly, happy, sunshine baby girl. And the other one is
Marine.
Not.
The other one is Marine.
Yes, I'm throwing Marine under the bus with this joke answer. It's funny.
You're making fun of a child, Ian.
She'll grow out of it. Whatever.
Don't throw her under the bus. You throw her under the boat.
Aquabus. There we go.
All right.
It has a glass bottom so you can see her pain and anguish as you go over.
Why are you like this? Oh no, Marine is
Today-
getting keel-hauled in this question.
Today, Ian woke up and chose violence.
Apparently so. Violence towards the tiny raccoon child. Wow, amazing. Now we know.
The irony being she built the Aquabus.
I mean, yeah.
Out of 2 rocks on a stick.
Oh boy. True. And our last question is from Marples. I've long held near and dear to my heart the headcanon that Sonic is a closeted trans girl. In the impossible miracle scenario where Sega canonizes this and asks you to write a coming out arc in the comics, how would you go about it? How might she realize she's trans? How might she go about coming out? Etc.
I would likely bow out. I don't feel like I'm qualified to tackle that kind of story. I feel like I can empathize and see certain perspectives. I can extrapolate to a degree. But that one, I feel like it's an alien concept to me. I would do my best, sure, if there was no other option, but I don't feel like it would be authentic enough. I think you need somebody else with a better understanding of that, way of life to be more authentic in the storytelling. That being said, I don't see it being a particularly difficult journey for Sonic because Sonic is very happy and satisfied with who he, or in this case, she is. Like, maybe it would cause a momentary pause of like, well, I guess it's this now. But Sonic is the embodiment of self-assuredness. So
yeah,
he/she would embrace this kind of on the run and roll with it.
Yeah. Even Eggman would be like, "Oh, all right, I'm still going to murder you. I'll call you whatever you want, but I'm still going to kill you."
I'm a proper gentleman. I won't misgender you. I'll just dismember you.
Yes. Equal rights, equal
I'm very
fights.
forward thinking. That's why I laid this trap in advance.
Yes. I mean, he did get his PhD in women's studies.
And with that, we're going to wrap up this BumbleKast. Thank you to everyone who submits their questions over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
Catch you later, everybody.
It worked.
Good. I'm glad. I wasn't even trying. That's how good I am.
So effort was your victory. Effortless was your victory.
Yes, I have many efforts, but that was not one of them. That was not one of them. I had no effort involved in that one. Effort was your victory. Effort was my victory, it's true.
It's fine, it was me.
Are you dead? Are you fine? Are you okay?
No, it's also the type of day where every small thing
falls over. Well, that's just living with cats, to be fair.
No, the cats are innocent this time around. It's me.
Okay.
Like, walking into walls, knocking over things that should, perfectly stable on a table go flying because I picked up something that was not attached to it at all.
Are you gesticulating?
Less than normal.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
If I weren't, I'd probably taken flight or broken a finger or something.
Oh, well, it's all right.
So.
Oh,
anyway.
Man. Anyway. You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org. Homestar.
You have to defeat that Dr. Wiley. He's a terrific athlete.
No, he's not. He's a terrific.
Come on, Mega Man, fight for everlasting peace. Oh man, my brother gets sent out to fight. What a lot of crap. Don't you hide yourself, Wall. You have very pretty hair.
What a strong bad roll. Strong roll. Amazing.
You think that's bad? I got cast as the dog.
Oh no. Oh no. That's rough, buddy. Rough.
I don't know, Mega Man. Do you think you can beat that Dr. Wiley? When life gives you lemonade, I shoot lemons. One second.